Well, folks, here again for the weekly forecast. During this last week, of course, we dealt with some of the precipitation during the Memorial Day weekend. Thankfully, we didn't see the same areas get repeat performances on heavy precipitation. And then, of course, we've been dealing with a much drier pattern during the middle part of the week. Now, we do have a system that's moving across the northern plains. It has moved across the northern plains over the last 24 hours. It did target off some precipitation across northern and northeastern Nebraska. And we do have some residual impacts expected this week, at least for the first half. But overall, there are signs that we should see a fairly dry pattern for this next week, which would be good news for many of our producers out there that have still been struggling to get their hay up or to get their crops completely planted. So this does offer at least a break in the situation, and we'll turn our attention late next week to the potential for more systems moving into the western United States that could increase our chances for precipitation once again. So let's get right to the maps, and the first thing we'll draw your attention to is the upper air low that was responsible for some of the severe weather in the northern and central plains yesterday is now moving over into the western Great Lakes region, and we're now getting on the back side of the surface cold front, and so we will see some residual scattered showers at least through the first half of the day in northeast Nebraska, and it may linger a little bit longer depending on how quickly this system decides to exit out to the northeast. But overall, a drier pattern, much cooler than the past couple days. We're seeing temperatures easily into the 80s and a couple low 90s. Now, as we go into tomorrow, that system deepens over the Great Lakes, and so that's going to bring this ridge much farther to the north. And we'll notice to our west that another system in the southern stream is slowly going to make its way across the central Rockies, and that will become a player later next week. But overall, we're looking for a very nice day on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend. Fairly dry conditions in terms of atmospheric moisture, so we're not going to be dealing with high relative humidity levels. But you'll notice that this ridge starts to build eastward, our temperatures will increase. And here we go on Monday. The system tries to push a little bit farther eastward. We still got a reinforcing area over the Great Lakes, so this is the area that looks to have the most inclement weather, and even there we're not dealing with a lot of precipitation. And as we go into Tuesday, that system starts to break down. We start to see the ridge building and pushing farther to the east, so we're going to see our temperatures increase rather dramatically. And notice that upper air low that come into California now sitting over the central Rockies, that will start to push some moisture out into the central plains, so we could see some light shower activity to an isolated thunderstorm developing in the panhandle. But outside of that, we're still looking at northwest flow in the upper atmospheres, which means fairly dry weather for most of eastern and central Nebraska. Now on Wednesday, we see that first piece of energy lift out, and this one is directed at South Dakota. So we're looking at for precipitation, Nebraska, the panhandle in north central Nebraska has the best chances for moisture, much less in southeast Nebraska, as we're pretty much right under the center of this ridge. Now as we get into Thursday, the system starts to gain strength as another piece of energy moves into the Pacific Northwest, moves our flow from the southwest in the upper atmosphere, and that's going to a little bit more moisture come into our region. So we're expecting more widespread thunderstorm activity to start developing across the western third of the state. And as we get into Friday, we'll start to see the system pushing across our region, which we could be looking at a severe weather outbreak across the central and northern plains. In terms of the 8 to 14-day forecast from next Thursday to the following Tuesday, we will keep the warm conditions in place, and in terms of precipitation, we start to move the precipitation off to our east.